Hey crafty people! Welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd, because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Welcome back. I'm finally getting a chance to try the technique Luise Heinzl's been doing lately with splattering inks and scribbling, and so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I'll leave a link to one of her videos where she does this technique down below. And what I've got, and I'm tweaking it a little. She stuck tags onto like coffee dyed papers, did the technique, and I believe she was planning to use the base paper as collage fodder and then the tag as a piece. What I thought of doing is to make them into pockets for my pages. So I'm going to put some repositionable adhesive on the back to just hold it in place while we're working. I've got a Posca paint pen. Sure it's going okay. And a Copic multi-liner. And I'm gonna make sure I've got them at the same level. And we're just gonna start by scribbling. And then the next step is to take ink of whatever kind you may have. I'm gonna start with some Salvaged Patina Distress Spray Stain. Got a whole bunch of inks out. I don't know which ones I'm gonna use. I may end up using a whole bunch of different ones. I'm gonna have a bit of a play with the technique and see what results we get. All right, so I'm just gonna do that to get my sponge dauber inked. If you don't have daubers like this, just using a sponge should work fine, but the idea is we're gonna go like that, and then I'm gonna grab my blower and kind of get it to spread out a little bit. I think need a little more ink on there. Kind of want to have like a thicker layer on. And this is Canson XL watercolor paper, and this is just coffee dyed cardstock. All right, let's bring in, what do I want to bring in next? Let's do Peacock Feathers. Now I want to switch, I think, to Oxide and add a bit of the Oxide sprays in. And I've got Peacock Feathers and some Salvaged Patina. I'm starting with my lighter color first, since I don't have a gazillion and 6 daubers, although I do have a lot. So what I'm going to do is just ink that up. And I'm going wet on wet because why not? Let's just see what we get. We blend them together. Kind of lost that Salvaged Patina one. Kind of got blended in. I think I'm going to hit it with my heat tool just to dry what we've got so far before we add anything else. do, it's not completely dry, but it's drier. And let's do some Peacock Feathers. Ooh, that splattered everywhere. So yeah, I have my splat box up because this is messy. I'm gonna decide what I want to do next. Or if I want to just leave this and let it dry. I think maybe I'll leave it, let it dry. Once it's dry, we can bring it back and see if we want to do some more. I'm gonna clean this up real quick and we're gonna switch colors. Okay, so I have cleaned up, grabbed another pocket, and this time I'm gonna use a gold Posca pen. I'm gonna stick that on like that. I don't know, I need to work on my scribbles. I'm not loving how they came out. And in fact, I think I may go in with this one and just be a little bit more intentional. All right, this one we're gonna switch to some pink. So let's see what I've got. I've got these guys and these guys. Let's do some Kitsch Flamingo Distress ink. And if you don't have sprays, you can put it on a block. And in fact, I may, like you can take your distress inks and put them on a block and splatter them. And I'll show you that because that'll get us some translucent ones. That did not get much at all. Let's go back in and do not too much going on there. Let me show you. I'll grab my Kitsch Flamingo Distress ink, grab a block. Spritz that with water. Mostly because I'm trying to get as much of the ink that's in there out before we soak up this ink so that you can see it. Because what'll happen is we'll get a more translucent, because it's watered down effect. Let's do it down here. So see, it's going to be lighter than the one up there that we did. All right, let's switch to Kitsch Flamingo Oxide. Now the oxides you have to shake up because they are a combination of pigment and dye, and so the pigment will settle out, unlike with the distress spray stains, which are just dye based. All right, we're gonna, well, that didn't splatter at all. My repositional tape's not working so great there. All right, let's get more on here and try. That's a better splatter. Now we're gonna wait a second because that'll and let it have a little bit of time to dry before we go splattering, because that will impact it. And actually, let's do one that goes off the edge, which I didn't actually manage. So we're gonna wait a second before we spray and see what happens when we do that. All right, I gave it a little bit and now we're gonna spray it out. I don't know that I let it sit long enough. Let's see. think, woo, I'm gonna do a little picked raspberry. And I'm basically using one dauber for the dyes and one for the oxides. Kind of want to let that dry a little. Yep. And then let's go. That one was splatty. That one did not splat very well, but that's why we have the blowing tool. Now, if you don't have a tool like this, let's try and stay in place. My repositionable adhesive isn't holding up to the task today. You can use a straw and blow through that. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I'm gonna grab, this is a Distress Mica Spray stain. So we're gonna add a little sparkle. Well, that didn't do anything at all right there, other than make a dot. All right, let's get some more mica on and do another splat over here. And trying to get that a little bit more so that I can spray it this way, but not sure that that did much good. Kind of thinking I want to do a little there so that I can spread the tiny little tendrils out. Like, I like those tiny little splattery tendrils you can get going. Ooh. Maybe do a little bit more. Whoa, that one was a lot more than I thought I was gonna get. Let me grab scrap paper and see if we can lift some of that ink up. Going to do a little up here, kind of for the sake of balance, so that it's traveling up the whole page. All right, this guy needs to dry for sure. All right, we are back with another color change. Whoops, I'm dropping things everywhere. I'm definitely going to need a shower after this. All right, let's do a pocket going the other way. Yeah, let's go with the gold and the black again. Which you can hardly tell, but what I did was I wrote the word fly. Let's do and then come in with a up in that corner because it felt like it needed something up in that corner. I'm gonna do yellows. Not that I have a ton of yellow. So I've got mustard seed oxide, and I'm gonna probably grab out some distress inks and do it on there. I do have Micas, but I didn't grab those. I grabbed Spritz in Squeezed Lemonade, and you'll see what I'm gonna do with that in a sec. That wasn't hardly anything at all. Gonna do some squeezed lemonade on a block, and then instead of adding water, we're gonna do a little spritz of Distress Spritz. To get it wet. Soak it up with our sponge. Don't know that there's enough water, so let's just add a little bit of water. Let's see what we get. That is not wet enough. It did a little blob. Oh. Yeah, that did not work as well as I was hoping. Let's try again with maybe mustard seed. Let's go a little darker. See if that'll work a little bit better. Again, we'll still do the spritz. And a little water. Don't seem to be getting it enough absorbed into the sponge this time around for some reason, and I probably wasn't on camera for that. So I just put the ink on the block, and I'm dabbing it up with a sponge. But I'm not getting much in the way of results there. I'm gonna pull out Fossilized Amber Oxide, see if we can get a little bit more interest going on this one. Don't know if it's that it's not working because I'm using the spritz, or I'm not using enough of the spritz. This one's definitely not coming out as good as the other ones. Let's grab back this dauber and do some more of the mustard seed. I wonder what happens if I do this. That worked really good. I'm gonna let that dry a little bit before I spray. Maybe bring over my heat tool to speed that up. I can kind of see a little bit of shimmer to it. I kind of like that. Let's do another one of these with another drop of Spritz on it. Woo! Do it there where that got messed up. Or didn't come out great kind of thing. Let's see. Let's recap this before we spill it all over the place. All right, I think I'm gonna set this guy aside to dry, clean up, and maybe we'll do one more. All right, I've grabbed out some oranges, and I did want to grab, let's try using a distressed watercolor pencil with our black pen. Let's do that. Make sure we're lined up. This is stuck down as good as it's getting. Woo! Dirty fingers. We'll see what that does. Now that will be water reactive, so, and actually, you know what? Let's put in a little of the gold pen too. I kind of like the gold pen. Where'd it go? All right, let's start with our carved pumpkin spray stain. Get more on this time. I think that's the problem. If you don't have enough liquid on, it doesn't do much. So kind of like that one. That didn't do all that much either. There we go. That one finally. That one got me. Yeah, this is definitely a messy project. If you don't like getting messy, I would not recommend. that aside and grab a cloth and clean some of that off my palm. Oh. Now I've got carved pumpkin and wild honey in the Distress Oxides. I'll do the wild honey first because that's lighter. Do a couple of those. Clearly not enough stuff on there. That should have added more to that. My dog is complaining because he wants to go out and I've told him he needed to wait. Let's try that spot again, like that. Let's do a little of the carved pumpkin in a few spots. Wow, that one was very wet. That one was very wet. Let me grab something and see if we can sop up a little bit of that. Do another one there without adding any more since I pulled a little bit off the page. This is definitely messy, which I enjoy, so I do not mind getting messy while crafting. I wonder if there's enough in here. Not much, but all right, and I want to do some Burning Ember, which is the Distress Mica Spray Stain. Ooh, I have a feeling this one is going to go everywhere when I splatter it. Nope. I don't think I came down hard enough to get it to go everywhere, but there was a lot of ink on that, so let's do one over here. Yeah, still a ton of ink on here. Gonna do one more there. All right, I'm gonna let everybody dry and then we're gonna come back and do some decorating. Okay, everybody is finally dry. And I've pulled out stuff to decorate our pockets with. So let's start with this one. And I've got a short on my channel showing you how I did these flowers, and they're made using the Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous, I think, mini bouquet flowers and the coordinating die that goes with that. And this little cutie is a digital by ChezSimoneTresors. And let's see, let's go ahead and glue the stuff onto the pocket, and then we'll glue the pocket onto the page. So let's, and I think you may hear a puppy death match going on in the background because the dogs are in a mood to play. I may need to go see what a dog's doing because I hear kitchen noises. I think I want to round that corner to mimic the round corner on that edge and ink our edges on this. And I'll grab Peacock Feathers. Want to cover up all the white that's going on over here, so that'll go there. That go down a little bit. That guy along there. All right, let's glue those on. And I'm gonna ink all of the edges on our pocket. Oh, and I did not take off the adhesive on the back that we use to stick it in place. Oh, and I dipped the page in splatters that were on the mat when I was doing cleanup. So that's where this came from. All right, now we're gonna glue it down onto our page. There, and I'm gonna glue just down the side and the bottom. Line it up with where our splatters are on the page. Still getting some of the ink off the thing as I touch it. I think I was a little heavy-handed. All right, so we got that one decorated. Let's pull over this one. And I did this in another video, but I think I'm just gonna go with her, although I want the wings to stand out a little bit more, so I think I'm gonna take, not that, this, and try and ink the wings without getting the doily that's behind her, and just put a black edge around the wings. Ooh! A little bit more than I meant to. That's why you do it from the back. That is not working as well as I had hoped. This is not cooperating as well as I would have liked. A little bit more intentional. Like that. She's overhanging the pocket a little, so let's glue the pocket on first. And I think with this one we're going to glue it on fully as a pocket, so we're going to glue top, side, and bottom. And if you're giving this a try, just make sure you remove all of the removable adhesive, or you might have stuff getting stuck going in and out of your pockets. that one is done. And these are more of the same flowers, but this is the Flower Garden stamp set, which is a larger version of the mini bouquet ones. And then I also use the die cut to die cut it out of black. And I'm just going to glue it on kind of offset, just to give it kind of an outline. Add a little more presence and depth to it. And this is one of the branches from the set. So let's kind of glue that down. Before I glue those on, I want to grab something. I'll be right back. So I've grabbed the Kitsch Flamingo Distressed Spritz. I'm going to do it on a block because I just don't feel like dealing with the mess that spraying them will involve. And grab a paintbrush and give them just a light coating of the spritz to give them a little bit of sparkle. And I don't remember what die set. It's a Tim Holtz Sizzix die set, but I don't remember the name of it. It's new to me, but not a new set. All right, we're gonna give those guys a second to dry. And while they're drying, I'm gonna glue this on. And again, I forgot to remove the adhesive. And yeah, I accidentally got some blue on this, but it's going to be covered up by the pocket, so it's okay. So let's, or most of it is. Yeah, there's still some spots of blue. Whoopsie. So let's glue this down. Really like how the splatter like spreads out onto the page. Here's the tweezers, and what I'm gonna do is grab these with my tweezers and hit them with my heat gun to finish drying them. Something to go right there. That is a contender. Just checking to see if I've got a flower I like better, or a smaller version of that one so that we can do a layer flower. You know what? I might like this guy better. I think I like that one better. I think I may grab a flat back pearl and stick a flat back pearl on there. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I am going to grab something else. Be right back. I've got enamel accents in black, and we're gonna just do a black center on that. And I'm gonna set that somewhere where it's not going to get a finger in it to dry. And we've got one left. And that's gonna be this one. And I've pulled out pieces for this one as well. The flowers are Tim Holtz Sizzix Wildflowers. I forget which numbers. And let me just get the placement of this on here, because I'm not gonna wanna put all of that bulk behind. So let's trim that guy off there. Now let's see if I can see where I put my mark. And I can't. We're just gonna do that. And I'll save those in case I want to use them for something else. Let's grab our tweezers and our glue and glue this on. Down, and I'm going to put the paper towel over it while I press it down just to catch any glue seepage. This will go right there. This one, I think I want that to go over the top, so let's cut it off right there. And again, we'll glue it on. And then what we'll do is we'll just flip that up, whoop, or keep that piece from gluing down, and let's get this glued into place. This butterfly is from the session of inking all the things, and it's a Tim Holtz Sizzix die, and I forget which one. It might be the Vaults butterfly, or this one's the Vault set, and this is Scribbly butterfly, Scribbly insects. I don't know. I don't remember. I will try and look that up and leave the information down below in case you want to know. I'm just gonna layer those up, and this is a Tim Holtz person. Let's add some glue to his back. Glue his wings on. Straight-ish. And this is glitter cardstock I picked up at Michael's. And this, alright, we're gonna set that there, that there. It's not liking. Alright. We're gonna do this. And this label is a digital by the Junk Journal Studio. Alright, he's gonna go there, so his wings need to go here. We're gonna glue the wings down to this piece of paper. Then we're gonna glue him down, and hopefully eventually it will stick where the glitter butterfly is, because it's not wanting to stick there. Kind of thinking now that the antennae I cut off from that butterfly body, and I think throughout I should have saved and stuck coming out of his head, but it's too late now. All right, let's remove the adhesive from the back. So we've got 4 splattery page pockets done. We got this guy and this gal and this little cutie and our pink one. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. It really does help my channel get out to more people. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.